there was a thing that there was a thing in like Scandinavia or like Sweden or some shit. Did you see it?
I saw that shit.
Did you see it?
And I was really confused, and I haven't been able to really like figure out.
Okay, so I'll explain it to you, and it has to do with food, right? This is why I'm talking about it. So apparently, you know how like when you're a kid, like, and you're like, hey, Ama, let me go play with like Daniel down the street or whatever, and you're like, and mom's like, te quiero aquí a las 9 or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and you go, and because you're gonna spend the day with Daniel, it's the summer or whatever, right? So you're with the homies, you're outside, and you're doing shit or whatever, right? Around dinner time, if Daniel's mom is like, yo, I made food, then we all eating, right? Like it's customary that like, you know what I mean? It's not even like a written rule, but like the mom knows all the kids are over. Or like Daniel and Juan are over, so
they just know. Like,
so like we're all gonna eat, mijo. Like, eat with us, because you know, then you gotta go back home, and then y'all are in the middle doing shit. Like it's already understood, right?
Yeah.
In Sweden, apparently, if you're at a person's house and y'all are doing shit, let's say it's Daniel and Juan in Sweden, right? And like I go to Daniel's house, and it's Daniel's people's families did dinner time. I would have to wait in the living room and wait for them to finish eating. So, and then after they finish eating, he can resume. We can continue with the
that shit
with the
awkward
festivities.
As hell, bro.
Isn't that? And
That's
people
so
were up in
awkward.
arms about that shit. People were up in arms about the fact that like, yo, you don't feed your guests, but people from Sweden are like, yo, that's totally normal. Like y'all are just weird about food. Like. We understand, like, that's their family time. So let me like take a little pause real quick, and then like, so like Sweden was like, yo, we don't see the problem, and everybody around the, especially
was
in
like,
America, were like,
what?
everybody was like,
especially Latinos, we were like, we feed everybody, bro.
Especially Southern people from like in the South, like in the America.
That's why they say Southern hospitality really is a thing, though, because let me tell you this. I feel like there's a lot of people that I've met that are not from Texas and not from. Recently now I've met a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of the world, and they're always like, why are y'all are like really nice down here, like y'all are really considerate for other people. And I'm like, well, isn't that just supposed to be a thing? Like, I don't understand what the issue is with being
grandmas will be like, oh, we gotta feed him, he's too skinny or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Grandmas be saying dumb shit like that when you just saw me eat a whole elote, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that was wild.
So like in Sweden they don't do that. In Sweden, like, you gotta wait. You gotta wait until
it was a Reddit post. It was somebody put on Reddit, and they were like, one time I went over to my Swedish like friend's house, and the mom was like, okay, dinner's ready, and he told me to wait in his room. And everybody was like, what the fuck? And then everybody started sharing, like, because the thing is that everybody was like, but why?
Yeah.
You know, like, they were
That's
like,
an interesting custom, I
like
guess.
Common courtesy.
Why?
Like courtesy would say, hey, do you want some?
Yeah.
If you don't want some, go in the room. You
and like, I read, there were some people that were like, you know, like, I think it had something to do with like, they don't like wasting food. And so like, if they didn't know that you were coming over, like if they didn't plan ahead, then it's like, hey, like, we didn't have like prior notice. But I'm also like,
bro, like,
girl, I get that, because, you know, if I was at school, and like right after school, my mom would pick me up and take, like, we would go home and have lunch. Like, my grandma had already made lunch. And so if I was like, can this person come over? We already asked her mom. She would be like, bitch, like, I did, like, we're about to go eat, and like, we didn't prepare for her. But they would just make something. Like, they would just like, you know, figure it out.
It's so
I'm
weird.
like, that's still not an issue.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me to think about it, even thinking about it in that sense, because it's like, for instance, as Mexicans, the shit that we eat is so cheap. Like, rice is cheap, beans is cheap, tortillas is cheap. And if my mama knew that I was coming over with friends, she'd make rice beans and have some tortillas ready for me, and have the tuna cans out. She'd have the freaking hot dogs ready. She'd be like, look, y'all gonna snack on this, and I'm gonna go eat my big girl food over here, but y'all ain't gonna care because y'all eat like fucking birds anyways.
But
so like,
I think what was interesting,
and also like, I think the part like that, I think like a lot of people were talking about it when they were younger. Like, they were doing this, like,
to children.
Yeah. Which was the part that I was like, as a mom, not me. But I'm saying, like, the way that my mom was, you know what I mean? Like, the perspective that I would have had from the, like, my mom is like, a mom, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
that is very much her identity.
Yeah.
Like she would have never allowed
would
that.
never.
What do you mean?
Yeah, my moms would never.
No.
My
What
moms
do you
I
mean?
would never.
My
I would
moms
literally never.
Yo, but like it also brought up an interesting point culturally when people from like Europe started like saying stuff. They were like, the only reason y'all do that is because, or like the only reason y'all think that is because food is such an excess in the United States. Like you guys spend so much food, like waste so much food that to you, like it just seems like a natural thing to do.
They say that,
over
but
there,
I
Mexicans
raised
be
you
like-
this. I'm not from the United States, and I am fairly
that's what they
like
say.
arguably from a country that doesn't really have that much food.
Yeah, I mean,
You
we're
just don't
speaking on Mexicans.
it's a courtesy thing. I got
That
it,
hasn't-
but again, like the food at the wedding, I was like, I mean, all right, like my life does not revolve around food like that. So like I'm just
I think whenever it started-
personally, I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. But culturally, it does seem a little bit like
I do think it
I
depends.
feel
like I can't make a peanut butter and jelly.
that's what I'm saying.
Y'all
Yeah,
can't-
I think it
y'all
was
can't cut
weird.
the crust off.
I
yeah,
like-
you don't got like the
Also,
mold.
you're telling me y'all don't have left? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Give me
Y'all
some
can't
lettuce.
whip up some eggs,
Whip up
eggs
the
and rice, bro.
Put some
Food
Food of the gods.
put some lettuce.
eggs and rice.
Wrap
Eggs
some
and rice.
Wrap some
How
ham
do
on
you,
some
how do you
lettuce.
hear eggs and rice?
What do you mean? You
Porque,
scrambled.
oh,
do you mean?
you scramble them? Porque the way I eat eggs and rice together is hard boiled eggs and then rice and like tuna.
I don't do hard-boiled eggs.
Either a fried egg, like, you know, a fried egg, and then you chop it and then you like mix it, or like sometimes even.
But like what kind of rice? Like white rice?
White rice,
White
yeah.
rice? It's because when we
we-
think of rice, we think
we
the
think
Alawala rice,
Mexican-
like
Mexican
Aloha
rice.
rice.
Mexican rice with all
no,
the
no,
little
no. I
sauces
mean white rice.
Yeah.
When I eat white rice and eggs, it's because I'm eating like Asian style food.
Yeah.
That's what whenever you said
Yeah,
hard boiled
yeah.
egg, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's
Because
hard.
Mexicans, whenever you talk to
No, no,
Mexicans
no,
and
I'm
you say
talking
rice,
struggle meal.
we're talking
That
about
makes sense.
Aloha
I
rice.
automatically assumed
Yeah, yeah.
you meant like
That
Mexican
makes
rice.
sense.
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah. We
I
don't-
understand your face now.
Yeah, we
I was
don't-
like,
we
yeah,
don't
what do
do
you
white
mean? I
rice.
thought this was a struggle meal for
Yeah,
everyone.
like tomato based rice
no,
with like
no.
I
No,
introduced
white
that
rice
to
and
somebody.
that makes
an
more
egg.
sense because then you can like
Yeah, no, that
you
makes
can
total
even
sense.
fry it and make the fried rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes total
You
sense.
could like
No,
put the
just white rice and egg.
Yeah, but I'm just,
it's like
you know,
if
it
you
does
don't
have an Asian
have
feel.
groceries or you just don't
I
want to
be-
fucking the way that I be eating that
I
shit.
be eating that shit too.
I be eating that shit.
I be eating
And
that
it's so
shit
good.
all the time.
Yeah,
Put
sometimes
some
too.
potatoes.
Sometimes I'll be getting like the tuna with the elote and I put mayo and like
Damn.
Fuck it up with some
that shit
saladitas.
is so fucking.
Remember one time
good.
you brought me,
Yagos.
you had elote whenever we were still working at Discover, and I had never had it.
You didn't like it, huh?
I did not
elote?
like it.
No, no, no.
I did not like it.
Like elote.
Like
Like-
like corn cup, yeah.
The mayonnaise with the
Neta.
cheese, I was like, I'm good.
Maybe you'd like it cuando se lo hacen con crema.
Maybe.
Because that's how they do it in Mexico. I fucking love it, man.
But also
Fuck
like
it up.
in Latin, correct me if I'm wrong. In Central and South America, they call elote maíz, right? And then it tastes a little
Maíz.
different.
Mazorca.
Mazorca, and then it tastes different. It's not as sweet.
No,
Like,
it is.
Really?
It is sweet.
Oh, I don't know.
'cause
I don't know who told
'cause there's
me.
a
I
different
think
kind
here
of corn.
is less sweet.
Oh,
No, no.
maybe,
So we
maybe,
have
maybe.
yellow corn, which
And we
is
have
very
white corn,
sweet,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
the white corn is
White
typically
corn is
where
what?
people eat. Like I love. I fuck
No,
with
that
white
is
corn
true.
so
It's sweeter
bad.
here.
It's sweeter, right? Like
Corn is, corn is not
over
as
there.
sweet
we get
back
used to
home.
like the yellow
Yes.
corn, and that's like a sweeter, and it's not
Yeah.
even actually sweet, but
just
comparatively
sweeter.
speaking to the
Yes.
white
To the
corn,
white corn, it is
it's
sweeter.
it
Yeah,
has
we eat a lot
sweet
more
taste.
white corn back home, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what,
most
you know.
people. I think that's like a Latin American thing. It's like that's just like predominantly what's grown over there.
Yeah.
and that shit fucking is busting.
Hits.
It's so fucking good.
Hits.
It's hard as fuck when you bite into it.
It's so
It's
good.
like, but it's so worth the like whatever, you know.
Do that at the fucking wedding.
Fuck it up.
Fuck a Disney.
Dude, if I don't have
fucking
like a
make it.
whole
It's like I
ass
don't
stand of that
understand.
shit,
Like, why do you want them there so badly? Is what I'm not like. It's not getting through my head.
I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna judge like weird couples.
but I'm
like
trying to put
weird
myself
shit.
in their shoes. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, obviously, I'm not a Disney adult, so I can't
Yeah.
relate to wanting like making. But I'm like, okay, who would I want that fucking bad that I would be?
I would only want that if
willing
it's like a
to, like-
performer. Like if it's
But
somebody
even
that's
then,
performing.
I'm like,
but not
if you told me
past
that I could book like Bat Bunny for my fucking wedding,
Would you do it?
Oh, I would cut off all you bitches for Bad Bunny at my wedding. In fact, it would just be me and Bad Bunny having a wedding.
Matter of fact, I wouldn't get married.
If I had that money, I would just marry. I'd just go on a date with Bad Bunny.
Yeah, deadass. I would just pay to go on a date with Bad Bunny.
Remember that Maroon 5
I feel
video?
like I still couldn't even do that. Like no food at all.
She's still like,
I fucking couldn't.
You're not gonna give me
No,
some
bro.
Chex
I would
Mix,
at least like. You're not gonna have like at least a bowl of Doritos.
I don't have no fucking goldfish or nothing.
Like you're
a
I
bowl of Doritos. Like, y'all got those 30-cent, like the 30 bags, the 30-cent bags.
Wait,
like,
did they not
I
include
would at
any
least
drinks
pass
either?
around some like pequeños or some shit. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't
Yo,
have.
did
Like,
y'all see? Speaking, I got two